At the global level, some of the countries have given greater priority to education, and as a result of which they are better off today as compared to that of the rest of the nations. The efforts have been that the children through education should be empowered so that they can develop on their own and that they can contribute to the creation of a civil society. We have millions and millions of children who are still outside the schooling system. It is the responsibility of the government of the day to identify the talent and to nurture that talent. See, when we talk about the use of technology, we should not forget about three things. One is the social obligation, another is the academic obligation, and the third one is the technical obligation. But we need to integrate values in our existing curricular provisions.
REVA University presents REVA Podcast.
Good morning. A very warm welcome to yet another episode of the REVA University Podcast Series, an initiative towards sharing of knowledge, insights, and creating a sense of community. Today, we have with us a very distinguished scholar, academician, Professor Ved Prakash ji with us, an erudite scholar, a thinker and researcher who has served the cause of education for over 4 decades now. A phenomenal academic career beginning from the Association of Indian Universities and culminating as Chairman, University Grants Commission, the UGC, a premier organization of the Government of India. He has the unique distinction of serving in all 3 key positions of the UGC, namely the Secretary, the Vice Chairman, and the Chairman. Additionally, he has enriched the cause of education in roles such as Founder VC, National University of Educational Planning and Administration, Advisor Planning Commission, Professor and Head Department of Educational Measurement and Evaluation, NCERT, being some of the few enriching positions that he has held and contributed towards the field of education. Sir, it is indeed a very privilege and honor for us to have you here. A warm welcome on behalf of the entire REVA University. Sir.
Thank you very much.
We would have a conversation basically talking on the field of education, and considering that you have been so deep-rooted and worked towards the cause of education across spectrum, would you kind of give us an overview of the kind of transformation that has happened in the landscape of education? Because we're also talking about a paradigm shift that we have seen happening in the field of education, sir.
We can look at it from 2 different perspectives. One could be the global perspective.
Yes.
And the another could be the national perspective. If you look at the global perspective, education has always been a subject which has continued to evolve.
Yes.
And extended its reach since the dawn of human history. And number of experiments have been done by different nation states. And the efforts have been that the children through education should be empowered so that they can develop on their own and that they can contribute to the creation of a civil society. At the global level, some of the countries have given greater priority to education, and as a result of which they are better off today as compared to that of the rest of the nations. In terms of access, for instance, there are a number of countries which have universalized their 12-year of school education long time ago.
Yes.
They have created very outstanding infrastructure for professional and technical education, and which is why they are far ahead of other countries. They have also contributed in terms of research.
Yes.
A lot. They have the advantage of taking their society to higher stages of development. So that has happened, all over the world. But there are some countries wherein much leaves to be desired. If you look at our own system, we have also traversed a very long distance.
Yes.
If you look at the kind of infrastructure that we have created, we have now more than 15 lakhs schools in this country. We have about 95 lakh teachers engaged in the sector of school education, and which are catering to the needs of about 27 crore children
Yes.
at the school level. Similarly, at higher education level also, I mean, we have close to 53,000 higher educational institutions of various kinds. We have institutions of national importance, more than 121. We have over 1,100 universities, and we have about 49,000 colleges offering undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Apart from them, we also have some stand-alone institutions which are awarding certificates and diploma programs
Yes.
at the post-secondary stage. So we have the largest system of education in terms of number of institutions. But then we have still problems relating to all the three important elements of education. For instance, access.
Yeah.
For instance, equity. For instance, quality.
Yeah.
We have millions and millions of children who are still outside the schooling system.
True.
Similarly, in higher education, if you look, we have only 28 children out of 100 in the age cohort of 18 to 24 who are going to the colleges and the universities. And now we have set a goal for ourselves through the National Education Policy 2020 that we are going to achieve 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035, which means that every second child in the age group of 18 to 24 would be on the campus of one or the other institution.
Yes.
And for that, as a nation state, what we will have to do is that we will have to grow at an annual growth rate of 4.2%. This, according to me, is a doable proposition provided we do three things. Number one, we maximize the residual capacity of the existing institutions. If you look at the colleges, the average size of a college is very small in our country. So we can increase the intake capacity of those institutions by investing a little more resources. The second thing is that we can also now increase the intake capacity through the open and distance learning mode, which is in vogue since mid 60s in our country.
Yes.
And now with the advent of information and communication technological tools, we can also now offer programs through online mode.
Yeah.
So if we focus on all the three modes of delivery, conventional mode of delivery, open and distance learning mode of delivery, and online mode of delivery, and if we invest a little more resources in education, then certainly we can achieve the target that we have set for ourselves insofar as the gross enrollment ratio of 50 is concerned. That we can do. Apart from this issue of gross enrollment ratio, we have certain other issues as well. So I will answer to those issues.
Yes, as we go along.
As we go along.
So, talking about a very pertinent point of access to education, as a nation, our very identity is our diversity, socially, economically, spiritually, in every which way. We are a very diverse country, and probably there is also there is a large diversity in terms of the accessibility to education. So. Against this landscape of diversity, how do you think there would be a kind of inclusion, equity, social justice, and quality parameters that could be reachable to everyone?
That is what is expected of education.
Yes.
And the Kothari Commission in 1966, in fact, said that education is to be used as a process for social transformation to bridge up the gap between the masses and the classes.
Yes.
And in its report, Education Commission, in fact, foreseen further stratification of the society. And in the context of nation building, the Commission underlined the significance of education in the context of nation building, actually, for forging unity in diversity, number one, and for building a shared citizenship based on secular, social, democratic, and egalitarian society.
Okay.
That is what is said. And education is the only means of overcoming all these issues.
Yeah. Even when we talk about education being a means to overcome these inequalities that exist, we also are, a part of the great divide when we look at our society around. We talk of even in the sector of education, for example, there is this division that or the bifurcation that we talk about in terms of rural, urban, government, private sector, corporate entities of education. So when the playing field is so diverse, we would require a level playing field wherein quality can be measured. How do you look at this issue, sir?
See, the issue with this is that you can see two contrastive
Yes.
perspectives in the society. There is a fatalistic perspective, wherein the people think that nothing can change, things will remain as they are. But there is also a utopian perspective, that if any desirable state of affair can be brought into, provided people with good intentions and necessary goodwill are prepared to bring it into being,
Yes.
that can happen.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I'll tell you that these two orientations, fatalistic orientation and utopian. Orientation, they are not characteristics of two distinct sets of persons. You can see them in alternate phases within the same individual.
Right.
This can be overcome only through education. And we must believe in one thing: this rural and urban divide is only in terms of the facilities that we have created.
Yes.
Most of our facilities are concentrated in the urban areas. But talent is evenly distributed.
Right.
Talent is also available in the villages.
In fact, there's abundance of talent.
It is a time-tested theory that talent is evenly distributed in a sizable section of the society. So it is the responsibility of the government of the day to identify the talent and to nurture that talent, and for which the educational institutions shall have to play a major role. And now, with the help of the technology, we can reach in the far-flung areas, provided we fulfill the social obligations.
Yes.
See, when we talk about the use of technology, we should not forget about three things. One is the social obligation.
Yes.
Another is the academic obligation, and the third one is the technical obligation. The social obligation is if you have enrolled me in an online program, and if I do not have access to the smart devices, then it is your duty to make those smart devices available to me. That is the social obligation.
Yes.
How do we fulfill? That is a matter of strategy that can be done, that can be thought through. It can be done through the government. It can be done through the societal support. The another one is the academic responsibility. I mean, you will have to come up with such media enriched content that the harder concepts of education can be conveniently taught to the children through the online mode. So it requires an orientation of teachers to develop e-content in 4 quadrants, wherein it is not only the text, it is not only the visuals, it is also the simulations and the exercise questions, etc. So we'll have to prepare the teachers for that. The issue is about scaling up the capacity of the teachers, so that the teacher, instead of catering to 30 children or 40 children in the class, if he can or she can cater to the 1,000 children or 1,500 children. So the issue is about scaling the capability of the teacher to that level. The third thing is about technical obligation, that you have to come up with that kind of infrastructure. Teachers are still, though some are using their own learning management system and offering the programs through online mode, but many teachers are not aware of that.
Right.
So I think we'll have to invest a lot in the building of in building the capacity of the individual teacher.
Yes.
Our focus is on that. In higher education, I mean, the Ministry of Education has identified about 141 Madan Mohan Malviya teacher training centers, and they are entrusted with the responsibility of organizing the orientation programs and the refresher programs.
Yeah.
And some of the institutions are doing exceedingly well. I'm aware of one such center which is located at Khalsa College, SGT Khalsa College in University of Delhi. They have thus far they have given orientation to more than 1 lakh teachers.
Amazing.
Yes, yeah, and there is always a waiting list in their programs. They are offering 2 programs a month, and they are supposed to have 200 teachers in one program. But every time I see that the demand is more than that. So that is what is required. We need to focus on the capacity
building of
the teachers.
When we talk about curriculum, not just in the higher education, but across the levels of education, we do see a kind of a difference because we have state-run schools with their curriculum. We have the centrally run schools. We have the internationally run schools. So do you think there is a way and a need to have a standardized, curriculum as well as methods of assessments of these children?
In education, I think the contextuality plays a major role. And in school education, of course, you can have some kind of uniformity across various curricular provisions. But in higher education, I'm not in favor of uniformity.
No, I was talking about the school education.
At a school stage, we have brought out the National Curriculum Framework, which we have been bringing out since 1971.
Yes.
Earlier, that was brought out by the National Council for Educational Research and Training, NCRT, where I served. NCRT, where I served for about 17, 18 years. So, National Curriculum Framework provides you the broad outlines.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the responsibility of the individual state or the State Board of School Education or the National Board of School Education. We have Central Board of Secondary Education as a national board. It is their responsibility that within that framework, which the NCRT has provided for, how are they going to organize the education? What kind of educational experiences would they like to provide to the children? Depending upon the maturity level of the children, depending upon the prior learning of those students. So we have to design the syllabi in such a manner so that we can train those minds, we can lay better foundation so that they can build on that foundation at a later stage when they transit from the school to the higher education.
So talking about the landscape of education in India.
And let me make one more point, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Insofar as exact science is concerned or mathematics is concerned, there can't be any two opinions about it. Okay.
Right.
We have to have the uniformity. But in other domains of knowledge, like language, like humanities, like social sciences, including geography, economics, I think we need to relate it with the physical and the social conditions wherever the institutions exist. One of the reasons of the failure is that we are not able to relate our teaching and learning with the social and physical conditions, and as a result of which we are not able to create interests in the minds of the larger number of students. We are not promote the engagement with their engagement of students with their social milieu.
Yes.
And they get cut off.
Yeah, true.
From their roots.
Yeah, so
which is very dangerous.
Yes.
Which is very dangerous.
So they also
actually
kind of disconnect from what they are learning.
And what happens that of them, those who have either the resources or who have better talent, they get sucked by the higher system. Yes. And they leave out their place. So they get cut off from, and then you have the problems which we have at the lower level.
Yeah. So again, from the landscape of the education in India, we also have seen, of course, NEP has brought in, these kind of changes, but we also see that vocational training is still not at the center stage in terms of mainstream learning and mainstream education. So how do you see this vis-a-vis how it is treated, how vocational training is and orientation is treated in the global scenario?
There have been several reasons for that. I think we need to look into those reasons. And if we are not addressing those issues, we will not be able to give vocational orientation to education at the school level, nor at the
Right.
higher education level. One of the shortcomings is about the public perception. Okay, that has been one of the major reasons about the skill education. Neither the children are motivated nor the parents are motivated for that, because there have not been proper counseling.
Right.
That if they choose a particular vocational program, what are the future prospects for that?
Right.
What kind of employability prospects are there? The another major shortcoming has been that we have not been able to create teaching and learning material within the in the regional languages.
Okay.
That also has been one
Right.
of the major reasons. The third major reason has been that we thought that regular teachers will handle the vocational programs, and we never ever provided them any vocational orientation.
Okay.
Okay, that is yet another reason. The fourth reason is that the Apprenticeship Act that we have, I mean, in the country, it did not recognize the vocational programs other than the ones which were offered by the ITIs and polytechnics.
Okay. Right.
Okay, and the another major reason has been that there was no vertical opening available until 2013. In 2013, for the first time in the University Grants Commission, we introduced the bachelor's program at the undergraduate level.
Right.
So, due to the lack of mobility from the secondary sector to the post-secondary sector, what happened was that if anyone has chosen vocational program at 11th grade or at high school, her education will come to a grinding halt after grade 12.
Right.
Because of the non-availability of
Continuing.
the vocational opportunity, vocational programs at the post-secondary level. But that has been addressed by the University Grants Commission in 2013 when I was there. So this is the, and it's not that we are not conscious of the significance of vocational education. Even during the colonial period, if you read the Sadler Commission reports, if you read Sargent Commission report, I mean, they have made appropriate references for giving vocational orientation to education.
Right.
If you look at the modern Indian education thinkers, like that of Thakur Rabindranath Tagore, like that of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji, like that of Mudaliar, Dr. Mudaliar, Dr. Kothari, all of them have advocated vocational education in their own ways and style. And even the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, he was a great champion of the skill-based education,
learning.
Isn't it? So, but because of these reasons, we have not been able to give proper vocational
Trust to
orientation to education. Now, in the new national education policy,
yes.
we have made, references about giving vocational orientation at all stages.
Yes.
In fact, the policy, unlike Kothari Commission, has gone to the extent now saying that 50% students by 2035 or 2030 would be given vocational orientation both at the school and higher education level. 50% students would be diverted towards vocation, and that is what is needed.
Yeah.
And another important thing that I would like to say, I mean, these are the global reports which say that 20% of the world's workforce would be in India. Okay, and if 20% of the world workforce would be in India, it means that we need to focus more on vocational education and give them skills and competencies which are comparable at the global level.
Global level.
Otherwise, they
yes.
would not find the employment
they would not fit in there.
beyond the boundaries of the country.
Yes.
That is a big challenge for us, and for which now we have the national level resource institution. We have an independent ministry now, Ministry of Skill Development, and Entrepreneurship. And we have this National Vocational Education Training Council now. And we have set up about 36 or 37 sector skill councils, which are affiliated with different industries, and they are mandated to laying down the national occupational standards and qualification packs.
Okay.
Comparable to the international
standards.
So tomorrow, if you wish to offer a vocational program, I would advise you that you should make sure that your program is so designed that it matches with the national occupational standards and qualification packs which are laid down by the related sector skill council.
Right,
so that the children do not find difficulty in getting the employment at a later
Ultimately,
stage.
that's the goal.
This is a wonderful opportunity given by the National Education Policy, and we should not allow this opportunity to slip.
To let go, yeah. Talking about public perception that you made, I think it's a very pertinent experience that all of us go through. It's very important that in a society, you have graduates coming out of all streams. That makes a society very balanced. But then somewhere along, I think we as a nation, we are very, obsessed with certain streams and, resulting in a kind of a hierarchy of educational domains. How do you see this being addressed? Because there is always this certain courses, which are center stage and certain others in the margins.
See, this is a big challenge for the higher educational institutions. There will always be a surge in certain professions.
Yes.
And that is going to impact the enrollment of the students in those related programs.
Right.
This is a challenge.
Yes.
And the consequence of that would be that while there would be a steep increase in certain areas of study, there would also be a very steep decline in enrollment in other areas.
Yes.
So this is the biggest challenge for educational institutions. On the one hand, they will have to come up with the high opportunity programs.
Right.
Like artificial intelligence, wearable technology, cloud computing, augmented reality, virtual reality. These kinds of programs, automation, robotics. But at the same time, they will also have to strengthen the humanities and social sciences and basic sciences.
Yeah.
We cannot allow them to...
Right. That's a point I was making. Because then society would be very imbalanced.
No. So this is a big challenge. I mean, you will have to make sure that those programs are not relegated to the background. But at the same time, you also cannot turn a blind eye from the high opportunity programs which are coming up.
Yes. So probably make the so-called, marginalized programs more relevant in terms of employability.
And one thing which can help us overcome this challenge, if we switch over from the conventional mode of teaching and learning to interdisciplinary teaching and learning.
Yes.
Wherein we could integrate language with life sciences, humanities with engineering, the social sciences with earth science.
Right.
Like that. That is what is required.
Yeah, that's a very, very pertinent point. Yes. Because I think the breaking of silos and compartments
I'll give you the example,
important.
for instance, which I often give, that when I was taught periodic table in chemistry, I was taught it like a chart. I was never ever told the relevance of those elements with the life of the human beings.
Right.
Okay. Only now we realize when we hear that the calcium level has gone down. So only now we realize the significance of that.
Of the chart. Similarly,
when I was taught photosynthesis, I was taught photosynthesis as a biological process. But it is not only a biological process. There's a chemistry involved in it. There's a physics involved in it. There's also a geography involved in it. So if we can switch over from the conventional mode of teaching and learning to thematic approach, if we come up with the integrated curriculum, if we switch over to project-based teaching and learning, I think we can overcome this challenge.
Yes.
And that is the only way out.
Yeah.
We should switch over to interdisciplinary teaching and learning. Only then we would be able to transit from the disciplinary research to multidisciplinary research, and from multidisciplinary research to interdisciplinary research.
Yeah.
And interdisciplinary research is required in today's time when the new knowledge lies at the intersections of different disciplines.
True.
I also can give you the example of you see the recent trends of the Nobel Prize winners. I mean, they are the majority of them are those who have defied the basic boundaries of a particular discipline.
Yeah.
They come. I mean, what is his name? John Highfield, who got in the Nobel Prize 2024 Nobel Prize in Artificial Intelligence. He is a physicist. Okay.
Yeah.
So because new knowledge lies at the intersections of different disciplines,
domains.
and therefore it is imperative
that
we should switch over to interdisciplinary teaching and learning and interdisciplinary research. Only then we would be able to address the real world's complex issues that we are facing, be it relating to climate change, be it relating to disaster management, be it relating to community health, or be it relating to cyber security and all those kinds of things.
So in one of the lectures, you had made a very interesting remark of your experience of visiting the Facebook office. And you had mentioned that you spoke to a group of youngsters.
Where did you hear that?
It's one of those UGC related YouTube videos.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then your conversation with the youngsters who were working there, and it was very interesting to note that a lot of them were not graduates, and not even graduates from the so-called.
They were not.
But extremely well
holders.
Skilled, yes.
But they were highly skilled professionals.
Yeah, so that.
So I am not undermining the value of a degree.
Yeah, I mean, we are coming to the next point.
A degree holder will always have an edge.
Yeah, but it is skilling that.
But if you have the skills which are needed by the modern world, then you are a person of value to the society.
And that was a very interesting point.
And this is what is to be conveyed to the students and their parents, actually. One of the reasons as to why we have not been able to give, why have we not been able to convert vocational education into a success story, that we have not been able to create that kind of an awareness about the value of the skilling programs.
Yes. And that's where that particular conversation was very interesting, because you actually brought out the necessity of skilling and upskilling through the process of evolution, which was very interesting and very pertinent.
There is a boy, one of the YouTubers told me that there is a boy with him whom he is paying 1 lakh rupees a month. He does his editing. He doesn't have any degree. But he has picked up those skills, actually. So it is the utility of, it is the value of those skills, actually.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about.
The moot point is that one can make a very decent living, provided he acquires the skills and the competencies which are needed
for the
in the modern world now.
Yeah, and that's also the thrust that we talk about when we talk about employability skills of these students, because in the same light, when you mentioned that 20% of workforce would be coming in from India, it's also very relevant that this workforce it goes out of the universities and portals being employable, as they need to be accepted by the required skill sets in the market.
Yes, we have been talking about this demographic dividend for a very long time.
Yes,
but I think in the policy somewhere we have said that this demographic dividend is not going to last forever. So here is an opportunity.
Yes. So
to make the most out of that.
Right. And it's not just about skilling, I guess it's upskilling and reskilling.
And reskilling also.
Yes.
the leading universities of the world, they are coming up with the programs for the non-traditional students. And these non-traditional students are those who have already entered into the world of work, but there they find that their relevance is dissipating, and as a result of which they wish to come back to the campuses to reskilling themselves and to upskilling themselves.
Yeah.
And universities are bringing are coming up with those kinds of programs. This is also a challenge for our institutions of higher learning.
True.
We are not thinking about the non-traditional students at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So, coming to the another important stage in the process of education, talking about assessments. I think you've done human work in that area in terms of measurement and evaluation. Assessment still, by and large, is seen. Assessment and evaluation is always conditioned, to be seen as a space of stress rather than the joy that is associated with learning. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
See, assessment has to serve multiple purposes. If you are not receiving the feedback as a teacher,
Yes.
you cannot improve upon your pedagogical processes.
Pedagogical.
You cannot improve upon the use of the pedagogical aids. If you are not providing the feedback to the learner on continuous basis, the learner would not be able to know how he or she is progressing with regard to herself.
Yes.
And himself. Okay. The third thing is that the assessment also has to be used for relating the current performance of the individual with regard to the peer group.
Yes.
Because you are living in a fiercely competitive world. So that is also the purpose which the assessment has to serve. The assessment, the feedback of assessment is also to be used for the purposes of improving the quality of instructional material.
Yes.
If we find that the text that we are providing to the students are not able to understand it, and they are not able to comprehend it, and therefore the onus lies on us to improve the quality of that instructional material. So assessment has to serve multiple purposes, not only from the point of view of the child,
yes,
but also from the point of view of the
teacher,
also from the point of view of the textbook writers.
Yes.
Now, assessment of human potential has always been a very difficult task. Very difficult task. The human mind is such that it doesn't give so easily even to the best neurosurgeons.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And what we are doing is that we are squeezing the entire personality of an individual either in the form of percentage, or in the form of a letter grade.
Yes.
A, O, B, C, D. And therefore, what is needed is that we need to use multiple sources. It's not only paper and pencil test.
Yes.
How does one perform when he is assigned a project task?
Right.
Okay. How one perform when he is given some field activity?
Yeah.
Okay. So multiple sources and multiple techniques. So multiple criteria, multiple sources and multiple techniques ought to be employed for assessing the potential of the individual learner. And yet we would not be able to reach at the 100% level.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Because it's then another thing is that we need to understand the value of the diagnostic tests. We need to understand the value of the criterion reference test. We also need to understand the value of the formative assessment and the summative assessment. And which is why we have said it in the National Education Policy that the assessment has to be done on continuous and comprehensive basis. Continuity refers to the periodicity.
Yes.
And comprehensiveness refers to the development of the cognitive and non-cognitive learning outcomes. Which also includes awareness, appreciation, values, attitudes, isn't it?
Yes.
And the motor skills.
Yeah.
I mean, in learning, three things are important. One is knowing, another is understanding, and third one is performing.
Yeah.
If you know, and if you do not understand. And if you know and you understand, and you also understand, but
You
if you are
can't
not
do
able to
something.
perform,
Yeah.
so these three things are very, very vital.
Yeah.
And for that, I would like to suggest to your university that you should go in for subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes. That is the technique which is providing a better answer to the teaching and learning, because it fulfills all the three laws of learning. There are three laws of learning. Let me share that also with you. One is law of stimuli. The another one is law of readiness. Learning is the best when you know why should you learn it.
Yeah.
But we never tell our students why should
Why?
they learn that.
Yes.
We simply go and start teaching the topic that is topics that are assigned to us.
Right.
And the third is the law of exercise. Okay, they should also understand the value
to
of perseverance.
Yeah.
Perseverance. They should not give up something if they find it harder. So assessment has to be looked at from these perspectives. Teachers ought to be trained to designing the diagnostic tests, the achievement tests, and also the aptitude test. It requires a different kind of an orientation.
Yes,
A diagnostic
yes.
test has to be different from that of an achievement test.
Right.
And an achievement test has to be different from that of the aptitude test. Many a time we use them interchangeably,
Interchange.
actually.
And we
But that
also
is
have a
not.
tendency to look at them very unidimensionally.
And there is also a difference. I
Yeah.
mean, many a time examinations and evaluation, are used interchangeably.
Yes.
And similarly, evaluation and assessment is also
Assessments, yeah.
are also used interchangeably.
Yeah.
Assessment has got a diagnostic view, actually.
Yes.
Evaluation doesn't have.
Doesn't.
Evaluation is a process through which you quantify
Yeah, and kind of-
and make some kind of a value judgment.
Yeah. Categorize things.
Measurement is not evaluation.
Yes.
Measurement is only about quantification.
Yes. And the journey. There's a continuum
Yes,
that is
yeah,
involved
yeah.
there.
So which is why, it is said, and we have been talking about this continuous and comprehensive evaluation for so long. In fact, when I was with the NCRT and when the Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya scheme was brought out in 1984, in 86, two schools were set up, one in Amravati and another in Jhajjar. I was in charge of conducting the national entrance examination for Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas.
Navodaya, yes.
Yeah, we had brought out a document for the teachers of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya on continuous and comprehensive evaluation. That is a very good document, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And that itself is a kind of a milestone.
The same thing we have reiterated.
Navodaya.
The same thing we have endorsed, re-endorsed, and we have reiterated in the national education policy now.
Yes, yes.
So it has to be carried out on minute-to-minute basis,
Yes.
and hour-to-hour basis.
And
actually.
multidimensional, actually.
Multidimensional.
Yeah, yeah. So coming to the aspect of research in India, somehow the zest for it is a little lower compared to probably the global trends in research. How do you look at this?
There are reasons.
lacunae?
There are reasons for that, and if you do a little analysis of that, you will realize that we have the talent. And why do I say that? When I make the global comparison, US universities continue to dominate insofar
Yes.
as research is concerned. But in the recent past, the share of research of China, the share of China in global research is the highest. They have outranked US system now. The share of China in global research is now 19.89%.
Okay.
Whereas the share of US in global research is only 17.8%. Okay. China is publishing now more than 1 million research papers annually.
Oh, okay.
US is publishing more than 700,000 research papers annually. Okay. But US is spending 3.46% of their GDP on research and development.
Okay.
Look at
Yes.
that. China is spending 2.46% of their GDP on research and development. 2.46. UK's share of share in global research is about 7.8%. Ours is close to 8%. And look, we are spending only 0.65% of the GDP on research. And yet, our share is as much as that of UK, though UK is a very small system.
Yeah.
But the point is that our teachers have the capacity, have the ability to raise it to a higher level, provided we make more investment in research and development.
Okay.
Okay? And with the establishment of the National Research Foundation now, I hope that the government would allocate more resources, and the National Research Foundation would come up with some kind of priority list.
Yeah.
What we need to do insofar as research is concerned, we need to address, while we would be addressing the global concerns, but we also need to address the national concerns, the regional concerns. For instance, the waste management. I was
you were
telling you
referring
the
to,
example
yes,
of
yes.
your city today.
Yes.
Similarly, the water management,
Water management.
the urban transportation, the climate change,
Yeah.
community health.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the issues which we need to prioritize, and we need to focus on those research. But I'm sure if you increase resources, if you invest more, our teachers have the capacity. They can certainly compete at the global level.
Right. So my final query to you. Today we talk about a digitized world and a virtual world, which is a necessity because they have been erasing borders. But at the same time, there is a growing concern in terms of how to establish, or rather retain, human values, human connect, and a human community beyond the virtual world. Your views on that, sir?
See, Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore was a great preacher of that.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
And what we need to do, that we need to integrate values in our existing curricular provisions.
Yes.
I am not the one who would advocate separate subject for that, neither at a school level nor at higher education level. But what we need to do is that we need to identify values.
Yes.
Values can be based on two sources. One could be the universal source, another could be the constitutional source.
Right.
I mean, values based on universal perception, like honesty, integrity, truth.
Yes.
I mean, these are the universal values. Go to any...
They don't change.
They don't change.
Yeah.
So values based on universal perception and values based on constitutional imperatives. We need to prepare a list of those values, and we need to integrate them across all curricular provisions. This is a myth that the values could be integrated only in humanities and social sciences and languages, and not in exact sciences and engineering. They can be integrated, provided we are able to identify some such sports of learning wherein values based on these two, universal perception and constitutional imperatives, could be integrated.
And that has to be organically done.
For instance, why I am emphasizing the constitutional imperatives. You look at Article 51A of our Constitution, which talks about respecting the ideals of freedom struggle. Okay? Promotion of the composite culture of this country. Striving for excellence individually and collectively. Protection of environment, including lakes, rivers, water bodies, lakes, rivers, and wildlife. Isn't it? So, these are the values which we need to integrate both at a school level and also at higher education level in existing curricular provisions, without which we would continue to remain as stratified as we are today.
Yes.
And that is what is expected.
And that lends a kind of a purpose to the entire process of education.
Yeah.
So it has been wonderful sharing these insights with you, and it is a joy to listen to your erudite scholarship coming way, and it is indeed our privilege to have you here with us today, sir. Thank you so much for this insightful session. Thank you, sir.
I wish you and your institution all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.